Next up, we are going to go ahead and we're going to work on some exercises of practicing these identities. So, number one is secant theta minus cosine theta equals sine theta tan theta. Now, what we should do is on this left-hand side, we see this secant, we should go ahead and turn that to 1 over cosine theta. Then we have minus a cosine theta over 1. That's truly what it is. Now, they need to have a common denominator in order to subtract. Also, if you missed it, I am working on the left-hand side, and we're going to make this our big red box. That's our goal, but we're not going to touch it. Okay, so cosine over cosine. I'm just basically stretching that so I can put them together. 1 minus cosine theta minus cosine squared theta over cosine theta. Then you get 1 minus cosine squared theta over a single, see, I couldn't say single and type it right at the same time. A single cosine theta. And that is my cat in the background. Once again, enjoy the scratching of the door. 1 minus cosine squared. If you look, that's a Pythagorean identity, and that is sine squared theta over cosine. I got to move this way, ran out of room. Sine squared, I'm going to break that up into sine theta times sine theta over a cosine. And from there, I see that sine over cosine is tangent, and that's a sine. And yes, they are flip-flopped, but they are 100% equivalent. And we just verified that identity to be true. Hopefully that made sense. We are going to jump into number 2. So if you need more time, pause it. I am going to move it away in a quick second. All right, there it goes. Into the unknown, and I won't start singing Frozen for you. You're welcome. Okay, number 2. We've got secant theta is equivalent to sine theta times tan theta plus cotan theta. Now, the first 2 problems we did, that left-hand side was the nice side that we wanted to work with, and the right-hand side was our box. However, if you look, this secant theta is now going to become our box, because if we tried starting with that, we wouldn't know where to go. Whereas if we start with our sine, we will know exactly where to go once we distribute that sine. So that means I'm just going to go ahead, I'm just going to write it so I know what I'm working with. I'm going to distribute that sine first off. That's sine theta tan theta plus sine theta cotan theta. I'm going to go ahead and change this into sine times sine over cosine plus sine times cosine over sine. Now from here, I've got a sine squared theta over a cosine. And the sines cancel on this one, and I just have a cosine theta over 1. So I need to go ahead and figure out how to add them together. Well, that means I need to go ahead and multiply the top and the bottom of this by cosine over cosine, because cosine is going to be my common denominator. So I have sine squared theta, bad theta, plus cosine squared theta now, all over cosine theta. I just combined them together because I knew I was getting that common denominator. If you look at sine squared plus cosine squared, hopefully that is the first identity you think of, is that sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So we get 1 over cosine, which in fact is secant. And that proves that secant equals secant. And for this one, I'm going to put a little smiley face in a box. And that means we're done and we verified it. Hopefully this is making sense. The next two you guys are going to do on your own. So it's going to be a bit more of a challenge, but you do have me here to play the video and come back to. So next slide, next video is going to be on your own.